Hey guys, listen, every person in the world should really pay attention to what I have to say. They really should. There's a lot of reasons why. And most of those reasons are not reasons that's being brought to you by anybody else. That's a good reason why. It's a really good reason why. You know, you have to understand something. The world's thinking too much. Everyone's thinking and thinking and thinking way too much. More information, more information, more information, more high IQ. I know better than everybody. Argue, debate, conquer, and divide. They seem to be the most active tools used all over the world. And many people just want to belittle everyone else, to put themselves on a pedestal as if they know better. We're dealing with this in our own backyard. We're dealing with this with our family, our loved ones, and our friends. And it's hurting us. It's hurting all of us. There's a lot of hurt in this world. And there's a hell of a lot of confusion and frustration as well. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of suffering. Most of us pretend we're not suffering and turn a blind eye. Everyone's suffering. Most people can't handle it, can't face it, can't deal with it. Many choose to live in their own bubble, in their own comfort zone, and believe in their own truth and manifest their own truth because they can't deal with the truth. Most people are very sensitive and very highly emotional. Argue, debate, discredit, debunk. I'm better than everyone. He said, she said, I know better. A lot of people are sitting back, not entertaining anything at all, far left or far right. Just observing. And their silence speaks in volumes. You know, a real man keeps to himself. And around his family, loved ones and friends, he behaves like one. If you only use loyalty, honor, respect, moral empathy and remorse, inspiration and encouragement, if you focus on just those tools alone, you'd be amazed how much you change the circumstances. You'd be amazed how much things change around you and your circumstances and everybody else around you. People are so negative today, or use a high IQ to justify every single thing that they believe in. And if you don't believe in them, they want to try and call you out because you give them those tools. When you use the same tools yourself to say, I believe in this and I believe in that, you're giving them the very tools to bite you. And they use those tools to bite you and to hurt you and to belittle you as if they know better. So you give them the tools and you give it to the wrong people, even if it's family, loved ones and friends. Are you sure you're awake to think outside the mind and not bite yourself? Because it's the way you think and judge that gets you into these circumstances non-stop, because you're not thinking instinctively and thinking outside the mind with your natural, organic motor skills. Nor is anybody else. They use the same tools you do. And everybody's using them. That's why you conquer and divide. You're designed to conquer and divide. You're designed to be competitive and to be stripped from your moral values and normalize this behavior that was abnormal yesterday. Normalize what was immoral yesterday. Twisting the fabric of truth to live in your own little bubble in your own comfort zone. And now, most people do. And now they can't handle the truth, can't face and can't deal with it in any way, shape or form. They're completely disconnected from life, nature, and the very things we are in harmony with. Our moral values, our moral instincts to think instinctively and not psychologically mental 95 to 99% of the time. That's what hurts your DNA all the time. That's what hurts you so much. When you text, you ask for a reply to get attention, and you deserve what you get because you're stupid enough to text to begin with. Texting is one of the things that hurts your DNA the most. It's psychological behavior on 5 senses and causes endorphins to make you stoned and high and think you're intelligent at the same time with a high IQ, because you need to use IQ and 5 senses to text. So you're not using your 6th sense whatsoever. You just continue to think you're, oh no, I'm using my heart. Really? 45 years ago, no one ever texted in their life. 300 years ago, no one ever read a book. You think the Aborigines have been wrong for 100,000 years? They have an outside influence of their reality. They don't suffer what you suffer from. They don't conquer and divide. They don't have psychological mental behavior, stress, anxiety, confusion, frustration, illusion, paranoia, and they don't use a high IQ either. Only the inverted people do. Only the whole civilization, the Western civilization, uses those tools. And you've got to break free from that, the system you live in, and every tool that you use. Because if you're not awake up to that, you're not awake up to anything but your own little comfort zone and your own truth. Now it's compromising. I can go deep with this. With the biggest bowlers and the biggest elect people in the whole world that knows that most of you are inverted, and 93% is beyond the point of return. Totally inverted. In brain lock denial beyond the point of return. Completely stripped from their 6th sense and only lives in their 5 sense with a high IQ. That's why they conquer and divide and use those tools alone all the time. And then everybody's got to make a name for themselves one way or the other. Even if they use love and compassion, it's fake. Oh, but I believe this and I believe in love and compassion with chocolates and roses. What do you think that is? Some massive delusion? Like people polarized in some sort of hypnotized state, right? Because they are. That's most of the light workers and conscious workers and 5th dimensional thinking workers. They all live in that bubble on social media platform. That's where their belief system is, in the phone. In a phone. In a programming. In an engineering. In psych-op programs. Amazing, isn't it? You know, I only come here for one reason. Because it's people like me that's been sitting back watching you for 40 years, how fucked up you become. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying it to wake you up. A moral, compassionate person, a real human being, doesn't use any of this BS. We can go to the doctors anywhere and nurses, and we can sit down and talk to them, right? And they know what their moral values are, but they still perform their duty knowing the system's controlling them. We've had talks with some of the biggest experts you could not even begin to imagine. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they do it anyway. Now tell me, what kind of human being would perform their duty knowing what they're doing is wrong? Do you want to explain that to me? Because we find this from the job centre, we find it from the commune, we find it from the governments, we find it from the hospitals, top physicians, doctors and nurses. We can sit down and have a vibration conversation with them, and they know what they're doing is inverted, and they know what they're doing is wrong, but they have to perform their duty because the system controls them. Everybody says the same thing all over the world. Doesn't matter who you speak to. The system controls them. So who's controlling the system? Because we're getting people from all over the world, normal people like our neighbours, people walking in the streets, people that we know, normal people from all walks of life, people that's been vaccinated and not vaccinated, doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter where they come from. They all do the same thing, concerned about something, but turn a blind eye, knowing there's something wrong with the system. And that goes to some of the highest levels when you talk to doctors in their own surgery office and psychiatrists and people at the top level. They know what they're doing is wrong, but continue to do it anyway because the system is set up that way. They all say the same thing. So who's running the system? If everybody in the whole world knows they're wrong and still performs their duty, you have to understand they're not human anymore, are they? I mean, 45 years ago, you'd never see anything like this like you see today. Maybe a handful of people, but people were never that inverted like they are today, where they will continue to perform their duty knowing what they're doing is wrong, knowing that what they're doing is a marketing strategy, and they don't perform the duties they know can fix people in hospitals, for instance. You know, we've talked about doctors with several different things. Today I spoke to a doctor about cancer because I have cancer. And I told him that I'm treating myself with worm tablets, right? And I gave him the name. She knew, didn't she?
Yes.
She knew. She said, oh yeah, you know, oh yeah, some people are curing like that, like other things are curing from. The doctors actually know what cures cancer, right? And just come up with a Hollywood spin deliberately, right? Because they're on a marketing strategy. They're designed on a marketing strategy to be competitive and keep their job and not care about humanity. When they perform their duty like this, they don't care. Now, I had to see a doctor about going on pension, right, to do a report, right? Everything's done for the job centre, for instance, right? The doctor was supposed to do the documents 3 months ago. Now, I got told by the job centre today, oh, they just got the documents. So either she's lying, right, because they lie non-stop and make excuses, right? But if you don't show up at the meeting in 5 minutes, right, they make you suffer on consequences, right? They control you non-stop. But they come up with excuses non-stop. Now, if she is correct, then the doctor who knew when I went to see him that I needed this document done immediately to get on my pension because it's being pushed through straight away, then he committed an offence, didn't he, for 3 months? Didn't he then stop the documents for 3 months? Wouldn't that be considered as a crime? Either way, the system and the way it's designed is designed to commit a crime against you and hurt you dramatically. And we deal with this every day on personal, right, ground level with other people as well. And we face the consequences head on about these things. And we bring this to attention. That's why I'm making this video. This video here is going to Job Centre about this behaviour, right? Because either the Job Centre is full of lies and using the strategy not to pay me, or the doctor is set up for this strategy and doesn't perform his duty the way he's meant to because he's got no moral values. Either way, I identify these things on a daily basis and bring this to your attention on many videos. How inverted people really are and how stripped they are from their moral values. We sat down and spoke to doctors from Marion Hospital who also admitted these things about other self-study research that can cure her in 5 minutes. They know the research, but they know the marketing strategy and the system won't approve it. In Australia and Queensland, there's a thing called brushwood berry, right? That cures cancer. On Channel 7 News, you can see this on Google or anywhere, right? Channel 7 News in 2017 or 16 when they discovered this. That was approved, right? As being curing for every cancer and also melanoma cancer, the worst one. Now, in Geneva Convention, where the WHO is, right, in Switzerland, where the elite are, they approve these things, but don't approve it anywhere else in the world because they run Prama. They approved the brushwood that cures cancer in Switzerland for all the elite and all the cabal and all these scumbags, but they don't approve it anywhere else in the world. You can go and look up yourself. That's the system we're talking about. They run the system. They run the molecules for Unifed and has done for many years and repairing DNA for many years, right? Now, NASA's putting this out, right, with Jason Shirker and these things because they create the problem and then create the solution, sell the solution. And to go to Unifed or ES system costs a lot of money because it's a marketing strategy where they create the problem to create the solution. Go into all the details about this and prove to you how and why, right? And no one can deny this. And that's the elite that controls it for the military, right? They create the problems and then a marketing strategy and start selling you what they were using when they find something new. Because now they have the tools of immortality. And they don't teach you. They don't tell you. They just keep it to themselves. So they know the tools of immortality, but so do some of us. That's why we educate these things, because they hide it from you. The same people that run Prama and the whole system. And there are doctors and nurses that actually knows this. When you go and talk to them, they actually know what cures things. They're aware of it, but still sell a marketing strategy because of the system they're in. And I think people really need to wake up to that fact that no matter how they behave like a human being, they're not human when they can behave like this. And that's the majority of people in the world that are psychologically crazy and brought up with atheism with inverted tools on reverse psychology. And they use their progenitor genes and think outside the mind. And that's what the 33-degree Freemason steps are. Jacob's ladder, to shiver in your spine, to think outside the mind. To think outside the mind with an outside influence your reality that you can only use when you go to sleep that repairs your body. But when you're awake, it does the opposite, right? To destroy your genes. And you put into a psycho program education, right? On psycho programs with psychological warfare to create the human condition throughout your life and die. And it's all by design. on psycho programs, marketing strategy, the whole 9 yards. The whole lot. From 0 to 7, you create 2 molecules in mentality. Those molecules are considered as melatonin and lanolin that runs and keeps all things together in your body. Lanolin is a cross protein that holds all proteins together. Melatonin does everything else. And these 2 molecules together activates 280,000 chemicals. When you think outside the mind with your instincts to think instinctively with your natural organic motor skills, then you activate all these molecules with graphene oxide from the back of the pineal gland. That's this crystal, from iodine crystal, that conducts your body cells with an outside feelings in your reality that you use when you sleep. Your gut feeling is survival mode that activates your spinal cord, the shiver in your spine, to be alert, alive, wake, and aware with a meth effect, because adrenochrome creates adrenaline with a meth effect. And those molecules, not a psychedelic effect, that everyone's using all over the world. Psycho programs, reverse psychology makes you use any other tool but the truth. Your primal states from 0 to 7, where you pump with adrenaline to be alert, alive, wake, and aware, and you mastermind a computer game between 3 and 7 with an outside influence with 7 times more positive power and 7 times more information. Proven on documents today that you're a mastermind and can move 7 times faster than an adult without thinking, without being programmed with reverse psychology, and you can't be manipulated. Then you go to school and the wheels fall off, and so do some molecules between 7 and 15. And they don't want you to know that. But we're here to restore that, because if you had faith in your biological genes and your natural organic motor skills, that you're a mastermind by 7, while you're pumped with adrenaline to be alert, like, and aware, and no mental disorders, and no confusion, frustration, if you had faith in that, you'd be like Jesus Christ by 24, and we have the evidence for that today. I'm living evidence of that. But your whole educational system and reverse psychology, and every inverted person in the whole world has a different father, right? A fallen angel. That's why they're inverted by the real people in ancient history, and they use molecules to prepare their genes and immune system because they can't do it organically. So they're so jealous and spiteful that they make you in reverse psychology so you can't do it either. And then they take children for adrenochrome under 15 because it dies between 7 and 15, but probably under children under 7. And that's the biggest business in the world today is adrenochrome, right? Because they get high on it. They can't create the molecules in mentality and create phenoside the way we can with their natural organic motor skills. That's why they're spineless weak cowards and control the whole system, and that is the system. That's the system that inverts you and makes you suffer the consequences non-stop. Right? And how many people do you think know about these things? Not many. Right? Most of your parents aren't human, your grandparents aren't human, and most of the people you know around you are not human, because they use every inverted tool to prove that. On a marketing strategy to be competitive and to belittle you and put themselves on a pedestal, and those are the facts. They can't use their moral values in the right place with real loyalty, honor, respect, moral mirrors, inspiration, and encouragement. They don't even know their neighbor anymore. They don't even know their family, lovers, and friends anymore. They can't divide with them too. By design, to be competitive towards their own loved ones and their own family and their own friends. To conquer and divide with them with marketing strategy and psychological mental behavior and judgmental egotistical behavior. And that, my friend, is exactly what's going on all over the world. And not many people are waking up to this. You need to break free from amnesia and discover who you really are. And most people won't go back to resurrection. They won't go back to the primal state and the image they were created in, because they'd rather go in psycho programs on reverse psychology with materialistic things, and everyone's become material and trust everything in material and depend on material and depend on every single thing in the system. What's human about that? You want to tell me? Do you want to tell me everything you depend on this whole world? You can't even stand your own 2 feet. You can't cook your own food. You can't grow your own food. You can't bring your kids up right. You can't do nothing right. But you want to save the world? Well, they put you into that mindset, didn't they? You should worry about your own backyard and bring yourself up correctly and your kids, instead of worrying about how to save the world when you can't even save your own ass. You can't even function with your own family, lovers, and friends. You can't go and divide within. You can't use your moral values in the right place. And you want to save the world? Huh? Because you care more about the world, don't you? That's right. Everybody wants to save the world because they care about the world. You were told not to fall in love with this world. You were told Satan runs this world. You were told Satan will deceive every person in the world. You were told he would, and he did it successfully. And if you can't wake up to that, you never will. But that's the time you're in, right? That's why you have to be a man and a woman. You have to go back to your primal state and not exercise any negative thing here. Get out of that mindset. Get completely out of that mindset that everybody else is in. Don't get deceived. Silence speaks in volumes. Your action speaks louder than words. I'm going to repeat this over and over and over until I get through your thick skull. Your silence speaks in volumes. Your silence has an atmosphere, has a reverse psychology effect. Your silence spreads like a virus through the atmosphere and people can feel it. They can feel what you mean without speaking a word. Action speaks louder than words, and your words don't mean jack shit or what you think. Action shows who you really are. Your mind becomes your own worst enemy because you think too much. Your mind will always play tricks and games on you, and that's what you use 99% of the time. That's why you suffer. Your silence speaks in volumes. Your silence speaks in volumes. You're all fast track into nowhere but your own extinction. Think outside the mind. You're in a time where time stands still, life is servant, is perfect. Live like a child every day of your life with your moral values in the right place, and never forget your good sense of humor, because that's what people love. Inspiration, encouragement, confidence, and a good sense of humor. That's what gets you everywhere in this world. Nothing else does. Nothing else in this world works. No love and compassion with chocolate roses works neither. That's spineless weak cowards that lives in a delusional behavior. Real, genuine loyalty, honor, respect, moral, empathy, and remorse in real life moves mountains, buddy. Moves mountains. And people have faith in you. And you spread your word of mouth with your reputation. And people love people that use those tools only. There's no misception about that whatsoever. No one's confused about that one. When a person shows real loyalty, honor, respect, moral, remorse, inspiration, encouragement, and real true wisdom and knowledge, by using those tools, with inspiration and encouragement, they always put people back on their feet and not cause them to stumble with any judgmental, selfish, and egotistical competitive behavior. So when you use those tools alone, you don't get fucked up the arse. You don't get hammered down the ground as if you're worthless, right? Because people can't go up against you when you use those moral values, because that is the sword. That is the sword, man, that divides mankind between good and evil. Don't you realize that? That is your sword. And it's embedded in your DNA to be that person and nobody else. In the Father's figure, right? And being in that figure, not any other figure, man. Be in the Father's figure. The Father's humble. His silence speaks in volumes and scares the living shit out of you sometimes. Right? Because that's how he works, doesn't he? Doesn't he work, put fear into you sometimes, and sometimes you can be cruel to be kind, to get someone on the right track? Not to be a narcissist, weak, spineless cow to use any of these fucking tools, or quantum mechanics, and all this BS. What do we always tell you in the streets? Don't believe in the system, don't believe in the government, don't believe in social media platform, for God's sake. Don't believe in the system of the robots all over this world. Don't believe in those morons, and all their psycho programs and their psychological behavior. Believe in your gut feelings, man, survival mode. God gave you that gift. To be a man and a woman, not some weak spineless cows. When your spine don't work, you don't have any sixth sense. And when you don't have any sixth sense, you have no spiritual connection whatsoever. Today, you think 95 to 98% of psychologically and mentally, and you strip from your sixth sense, you can go and get a DNA test at any Unifed center in the world. Your sixth sense does not work. End of story. 90% of you are too shit scared to go and get a test done. You're too shit scared to do something about it too. Because you all think you're awake out there, you got no fucking idea. You got no fucking idea out there. The whole world's evil, and most of you deceived into this, and you're not even aware of it. Because you're polarized in a hypnotized state, and you have amnesia. You don't know who you are. You don't know why you're here, what the meaning of life is. Because you're concentrating and thinking too much on reverse psychology with more information. But you do not know who you are. You do not know why you're here, and you do not understand what the meaning of life is. And if you don't know that, you don't know jack shit about yourself. Because you have to discover who you are. You have to break free from amnesia. And not be stuck in a reincarnation trap. Now, you know what? These are facts that you can't wrap your mind around. You've been stuck in a reincarnation trap for many, many years. Over and over and over. Some people can remember that. Some people are opening up their mind to see that and remember their forefathers' footsteps and their other lives when they were here too. Many people are. Many people getting vision and dreams from their forefathers' footsteps and the lives they lived here before, all the way back for 6,000 years, and been stuck here for 6,000 years. And some people waking up to this from the reincarnation trap, so they're not stuck in it. You're meant to be free, and that makes being free from the human conditioning. Being free from the human conditioning. Being free from amnesia. Resurrecting It's going back to primal state. Resurrecting humanity is to bring them free from amnesia, back in their primal state, in the image you're created. Repent means turn around to discover who you are. That's what it means. That's the salvation plan, for God's sake. Right? Being reborn is not born again. Being reborn is breaking out of the shell and discovering you break free from amnesia and stick your head through the cave, the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you know what the truth is. Then you know what the knowing is. Until then, you don't know jack shit, because you're in every rabbit hole in the dark tunnel. And you haven't stuck your head through the cave yet for the light at the end of the tunnel to discover this is only the beginning. That's when you go through the death experience and you don't die. That's when you die and come back. Dying and rising. Look it up in Google. Look it up in the Bible. Look up the all-seeing eye of Horus. He was the first Christian who went through dying and raising. The light. You're not even aware of that, because it's all-seeing eye of Horus. It's the third eye, the pineal gland, and you don't know how to use it neither. You just talk about it all day and talk shit all day. The third eye, we can see the future and see the past. And you can't wake up to this until you go free from amnesia, and then you start to discover things like this for your own DNA code and discover who you really are. Until such time, you're nothing but a monster, and you're possessed by the devil, and that's why you've got to get out of the mindset, because the voice of the mind's ultimate sign being extinction, that's possessed most of the world today. That's hard to cop, but it's reality, man. It's fucking reality. All right? And believe me, I say this for a very specific reason. You better wake up and understand what's going on and stop entertaining every negative field and every negative thing that you're attached to, like your phones, like your TV, like all your materialistic things that you depend on so much. You better let go of this world, buddy. You were warned about that. Anyone who loves this world and wants to save the world will go with it. We'll go with it. You want to save the world? You want to save the WF? You want to save the whole world? Good luck with that. Because we're going into another dimension where everything becomes perfect. No more pain, stress, and fear, while use goes into massive extinction. Every negative field in this whole world is going into massive extinction, recorded on documents. Every negative thing in the whole world is going into extinction. Life, animals, and every human being that lives on 5 cents in negative fields. They're all going into massive extinction, all by design for the end times. Believe it or not. That's what you got to wake up to, guys. That's why I'm here to save you. By using these tools and making a relationship with the Father. Because those 8 tools are the only tools that you have to make that relationship with an outside influence in your reality. When you put your principality in the right place, you're given the God-given power. Don't you forget it.